Hi gang, today I'm going to show you how to complete the cladograms gizmos. The one thing I think that would probably be the best thing for you to do is to split your screen and have your Canvas quiz open and then your gizmos open as well. Because the cladograms gizmos and the actual quiz, the quiz itself pretty much has all of your instructions there for you. There's going to be 12 questions on this overall quiz, and each step is going to tell you exactly how to complete the Gizmos lab. First things first, you want to actually click Gizmos, and you should have a lab that looks like this, the Cladograms Lab. So the first thing that your quiz tells you to do is that you are going to be making a cladogram out of the plants first. So just to make sure that you can see this entire screen, I am not going to open both of the pages, but I am going to keep this one open, and I'm just going to kind of read the instructions to you, what you're supposed to be doing. So the first question is going to say, check that plants are clicked and the morphological data is clicked as well. And they should be selected. And it says fill in the table. Clicking one of the boxes of the table will add a check mark to indicate the presence of that characteristic. Then select check table and adjust any of the boxes that you may have filled correctly. So as we go down this list, the cladograms will get more complex as we go down this list. So we'll start with the simplest one. So first, you want to look at these different plants, and you want to see or check off whether or not they have that particular characteristic. So multicellularity, I'm just going to assume that these three plants have it. The moss, I'm going to assume that says cycad, and the Arabidopsis, I'm going to make sure that these three have this. Does it have any vascularity? Possibly just these two organisms. And finally, which one has flowers? It looks like this particular plant does have the flowers, okay? So as you can see, very, very nice and neat. Now, if you want to make sure that this is correct, the next step in your instructions for number 1 says to check the table. If there are no red shading over the boxes, that means everything is correct. If there is a red shading, that means you need to correct what it is that's wrong before you move on. And so it says, your first question is, which organism has the fewest shared characteristics? Which organism? And then you will look at your organisms and see which one has the least, and then put that as your answer. For number 2, it says, now you're ready to organize the table. So what you're going to do is you're going to drag these arrows below the table in order from the columns of the fewest characteristics on the left and the most on the right. So the organisms with the fewest characteristics is algae, and the one with the most characteristics is going to be the plant that starts with the A. So you want to organize it in this manner. And then how many characteristics, check marks, does each organism have? As you go down the list, you'll just see how many check marks. Algae has 0, moss has 1, cycad has 2, and this organism has 3. So then you'll put that in your table. Once you're done with number 2, go ahead in your quiz, go to question number 3. Now it says to drag the arrows to the right of the table to order the characteristics from the fewest organisms on the top and the most on the bottom. So I have the fewest characteristics on the top and the most on the bottom. Now, if you don't have this in the right order, then you're just going to reorganize it in this way. Same with this. You just drag them. All right. And if you notice, as you drag these, the orders in which your organisms appear in your cladogram change as well. All right. And so number 3 asks you how many organisms have each characteristic. And then again, you'll just go down the list. You know, flowers have 1, xylem and phloem have 2, and then multicellularity is 3. So you just go down that list and put those values in. Now, question 4 says you're going to build your cladogram at the top left. So all you're going to do is just connect your dots just like this. Now, will it always be in this order? No, because as you can see, for the next organisms, they're going to be a little bit different. So you just click on the dotted lines and put them in order. The older organism is going to be to the left. The newer organisms are going to be on the right. And just like we've done before, in order for the organism to have that characteristic, it'll be a step above that characteristic. If you want to label these, you're more than welcome to label these if you want. But you can leave them just like this. All right, so now after you've completed your cladogram, click Show Accepted Cladogram. And click that, and it will let you know whether or not that your cladogram is accepted and whether or not it's equivalent to the one that's correct. And like I said, if you want to label it, you can, if you want to. If you don't, that's fine, as long as you know it's correct. So your cladogram is correct. And then question number 4 asks, which 2 organisms are the most related based off of your cladogram? And so we already know that in the cladogram, the organisms that are closest together near the right side are the ones that are the most closely related. Also, if you want to slide these over, of course, it's going to change your cladogram as well. If you slide these up and down, or left and right. All right, but this is the accepted one. This is the correct cladogram. So once you answer question number 4, move on to question number 5. Then using this exact same cladogram, you're going to answer the question, which organisms are most distantly related? And you're going to answer that question as well. So based off of the answers that they give you, of course, the 2 organisms that are farthest apart on this cladogram are the most distantly related. Number 6 is going to ask you to take a snapshot of your cladogram and upload it into Canvas. So the way that you do that is you're just going to click this camera button right here. It's going to take a picture. Hold on, I didn't take my picture. Well, it should take a picture. And I'm guessing because I'm recording, that's why it's not doing it. But anyway, your image will be right here, or you can just screenshot it. You right click the image and then you save it. And you're going to upload that into number 6 in Canvas. All right, number 7. Once you read number 7, it's going to ask you, it's basically going to outline all of these parts of the cladogram. On a completed cladogram, the orange dot connects 2 branches, represents a common ancestor. All these orange dots represent a common ancestor. In the cladogram below, organisms B and C descended from a common ancestor, D. And A, B, C, and D are the examples that's in Canvas. So it says, according to the cladogram, is the statement below true or false? These 2 organisms share the most recent common ancestor. The moss shares a common ancestor with these 2 organisms. And finally, algae shares a common ancestor with all of the other organisms. Is that true or false? And so you'll just give your answer there. Now, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to select the organisms group because you're done with plants. You're going to move on to insects now. Yes, insects. And so now you have a more complex cladogram this time, but it should just be fairly as simple as the insects one. So just as you did in activity A, use the information provided to fill in the table of the characteristics for the insects. Check your table, make sure it's correct, and then drag your arrows to make sure that they're in order. So I'm just going to assume, I'm just going to go down this list and make assumptions. You have to make sure you do your chart first. So which organisms have a stinger? I'm just going to say just the bee. The larval stage, maybe all of them. And it'll let you know whether or not you're wrong. Foldable wings. And then which organisms have wings? And then I'm going to click check table. All of these are wrong. So I need to go back and fix these. And this is the correct order. Now, as you can see, my table is already organized. I don't have to drag these, but you want to make sure that you drag the arrows below the table to order the organism columns from fewest to most. So you just drag them from fewest to most. So silverfish doesn't have any of these characteristics. And then you drag the arrows on the right side of the table where you have the least characteristics on top and the most characteristics on the bottom. So you just drag them to make sure you have the least characteristics on top and the most on the bottom. And of course, as you move these, of course, it's going to change the order of your organisms here in the cladogram. Once you're done and you've connected the dots, the next thing you're going to do is you're just going to connect your cladogram. I'm just going to do it the basic way, okay? And then if you wanted to make sure if you have it right, click Show Accepted Cladogram, and mine is correct. So if you have the correct cladogram, or if you need to make any adjustments, you're more than welcome to do so to make it match the one on the right. If it's correct, take a snapshot. There it is. Download it and put it into Canvas for number 8. So based off of this cladogram, it asks you which 2 insects are the most closely related. So we already know that the organisms that are closest together on the cladogram are the most closely related. So make sure you give the correct answer based off the answer choices that we give you in Canvas. That's number 9. Now, question 10, on your own, you're going to build the primates and the animals cladogram, and then you're going to upload those pictures of those cladograms into Canvas. Now, if you struggle with it, that's completely fine. I just want to see your work. And so for number 10, it shows you basically, there's images already there that kind of show you how you need to organize your cladogram. So as long as it looks closely to the one on the right, you should be good to go. If you can't get it exactly like the image on the right, the correct one, that's completely fine. Just play with it until you get it. If you don't get it, don't worry about it. Just upload your best work, because these get more complex as you go down the organisms list. So we're going to go and look at these different organisms. And if you don't know, just make an educated guess. I'm assuming that the human is the only one that's bipedal. Looking at these pictures, the pictures can help you out as well. The woolly has a tail, the howler has a tail, baboon has a tail, humans don't have a tail, and sagittal crest. So I'm going to check my table. And the only one I got wrong is that gorillas have 32 teeth. Okay. And I'm just checking out something here. And if you're not necessarily sure about the features like the sagittal crest, you're more than welcome to look it up. Basically, it's just a prominent ridge above the bone that projects upwards in the cranial vault along the midline of the head. So I think that that's only seen in the skull. So I think that's only seen in like orangutans and gorillas. So if you are not sure about the characteristics of these organisms, you're more than welcome to look them up. That's completely fine. So the gorilla only has that one. Now, what you need to do is from left to right, organize these from smallest to the least to greatest. 2, 2, and 2. And then organize from top to bottom from the most to the least. Now I'm just going to organize my table just like we've always done it. And then I want to check to see if it's the correct cladogram, and it's not. So I'm going to make changes to my cladogram based off of the information that's right here on the right. I think that is correct. All right. Oops, no, my chimp is supposed to be next to the human. So I need to switch my baboon and my chimp. I think that's how I'm supposed to do it. Yes. All right. And so if it's not right, then you are more than welcome to make the adjustments. If you want to start all over, that's completely fine. But this is just how it should look. So once you have this ready, just take a snapshot, download it, and upload it into Canvas. That's the first one. And the second one that you want to do is animals. And that's going to be the last one that you do. You are not going to do these organisms here. We're not going to do those. All right, again, this one is even more complex. You're going to look at the different characteristics. You're going to look at the organisms and just guess and see whether or not these organisms have it. And remember, you can check the table afterwards and make adjustments. Let's start with something that's easy. All right, and after we do this, I'm just guessing, click check table, and I'm going to have to check these answers. Okay, and so from at the bottom, from left to right, just make sure that I have it from smallest to greatest when it comes to the number of checks. Okay, so I think this is the correct order that these organisms should be in. I don't want that one. Okay. And that should be the best that I can organize this, because remember, there are going to be some characteristics that these organisms don't have. So your table is correct. You're going to connect the dots. Now you should be using this table to connect these dots. However, I'm just going to connect all of them in the generic way that we think they should be organized. We already know that this isn't correct. Right? Click show accepted diagram, and it's going to tell you exactly what you have wrong. We have all of our organisms in the right clades. It's just that their common ancestors and the order of their characteristics are kind of out of order. And the reason why is because some of these organisms don't have all of these characteristics. Okay, so I made the changes, and it looks similar to the one on the right. So you take a picture of this one. You want to upload it into Canvas, along with the other picture that you just took. Now, once you're done, you're all done with making cladograms. So now you'll do question 11 and question 12, and you'll look at the cladograms that they have in Canvas, and you'll answer those questions based off of the information that you know, just the cladograms. And so question 11 asks, according to the cladogram, which organism is mostly related to this one, this plant? And then according to the cladogram shown for number 12, which organisms have foldable wings? And then you'll go down the list, look at the cladogram, and make sure that all those organisms that have foldable wings are selected. So pretty much that's how you do the gizmos. Okay. So if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to come see me or send me a private message. I'll be more than happy to help.